The Singapore Grand Prix was a banger, with action all the way through the grid and plenty of success stories. There are a few drivers who wilted under the lights, faltering to the pressure from behind and failing to overcome the challenges in front of them. In a weekend full of success stories, everything seemed a bit buddy-buddy in the interviews, but there's some serious heat bubbling away under the surface, and it wasn't just the barriers breaking under the pressure. Want to know what Toto had to say about Russell's clumsy crash? He really didn't hold back, and stick around to the end to find out how Red Bull's weekend went so wrong. It's the return of the best bromance in Formula 1 as Carlos Sainz drags Lando Norris to a fan-favorite 1-2 for the ages. Mercedes were on the hunt after what seemed to be a strategy masterstroke by pitting under the virtual safety car brought into play by Ocon's Alpine, but disaster struck in the closing stage of the race as Russell followed Norris deep into turn 10, but instead of kissing the wall like his compatriot did, Russell smashed face first into the barrier, throwing away a guaranteed 3-4 for Mercedes, possibly even a double podium according to Toto. Norris put up an intelligent defensive showcase, assisted by Carlos seemingly slowing down to allow his ex-teammate a DRS advantage to keep Russell behind. Further down the grid, Liam Lawson put on an impressive display, holding Perez at bay in the early laps and even keeping Verstappen on his toes as he didn't cower to the sister team's aggressive overtake attempt. Gasly had a quietly strong race, securing strong points for the French team in spite of Ocon's disappointing exit. And speaking of disappointing, what a nightmare weekend for Aston Martin. One to forget for sure, with the weekend being rounded off with the P15 finish for Alonso, the last car on track to cross the line. Disappointment wasn't exclusive to the Mercedes customer teams, as the main team also found themselves at the whims of cruel fate under the Singapore lights. The pressure appeared to build as the race went on for George, with Lewis on the radio to Mercedes, a wall of papaya and black slowing him down, and it seems that when stuck between the unstoppable force of Hamilton and the immovable object of Norris, Russell couldn't stand the heat in Singapore and received a firm embrace from the barriers, failing to score points for the second time in the last 3 races. A clearly emotional George had this to say about his race. No words, to be honest. Such a long and physical race, difficult to keep concentration. I think we were half a car length from winning the race. Had I got past Lando when I had the opportunity, I think we would have been able to get past Carlos. Then just the last lap, a millimeter lapse of concentration and game over. So just sorry to the whole team. It's heartbreaking after such a great weekend. The car felt great, qualifying was great, and the race was great. We were bold with the strategy. I feel like I let myself and the team down. It's tough, but we'll come back. It seems like George's fears of letting the team down aren't all that unfounded, with a clearly disappointed Toto Wolff revealing that the team's data indicated that the Mercedes duo were on course for a 1-2 following their VSC pit stop gambit. It seems like the turning point in the closing period of the race was Russell proving to be incapable of passing Norris on the fresher tyres, weaving behind the perfectly placed McLaren, costing both himself and his teammate time. Wolff stated that the pit stop took them from having no chance of victory to being potential favourites according to the data, which must have led to some frustration when he saw the floundering number 63 failing to overtake a car on 25-lap older tyres. It was just so difficult to win the race if we were just static. So we said, let's go for it, and we just went for it, and in the end, it's a podium for Lewis, and that's great. I don't think we would have been able to win by staying out, that's why we took the risk. We knew worst case it was 3rd and 5th, best case the win. When we came out with several laps to go, the data showed 1st and 2nd. Toto couldn't hide his clear disappointment as he went on to say, "It could have been a good 3rd and 4th, lots of points, but now we lost 22 points against Ferrari." Speaking of Ferrari, Sainz looked masterful under the Singapore lights, dictating the pace from the front and not stepping a foot wrong all weekend. Even Ferrari's strategy team couldn't mess this one up. However, the balance of fortune seemed to sway towards one side of every team's garage this weekend, with every team seeing one driver falling foul of some serious bad luck, and sadly for Ferrari, Leclerc was not the exception. Despite Russell's omniscience not seeing his own downfall, he couldn't help but notice early on that Leclerc was buying time for his teammate, functioning more as the shield rather than the prancing horse on it, with Russell noting, it looks like they're going to sacrifice Leclerc. This proved to be an astute observation, with Ferrari demanding further and further gaps to his teammate ahead and Leclerc noting the danger that it was putting him in. While it wasn't a direct result of Ferrari's demands that Leclerc fell out of podium contention, it made for uncomfortable viewing for fans of the Monegasque, especially when this gap that he had left to Sainz left him waiting in his pit box for traffic to come past. The room was supposedly left to guarantee time for a double stack in the almost guaranteed eventuality of a Singapore safety car. However, the amount of time between the stops seemed to indicate that it was excessive to say the least. I guess with their track record, I can't blame Ferrari for not wanting to take any risks. When talking about his team-ordered misfortune, the Monegasque had this to say. I knew this race was going to be difficult for me from the first stint. It was all about trying to protect Carlos in order for me to stop before him in order to leave a gap. Then we had the safety car and we did a double stack. I had traffic to go out, I lost 3 positions, so that puts us on the back foot, and I struggled at the restarts with the tyres and traffic in general. After that, I knew it was going to be a difficult race from that moment onwards. However, following the race, Leclerc said that he didn't feel like the sacrificial lamb that George made him out to be, with him saying that the ongoing talks on the radio that were heard throughout the race were in reaction to Mercedes not keeping up with the pace of the Scuderia, with Leclerc responding to being asked if he felt like a sacrifice, saying, "No, it was completely normal. We discussed it before. In the first stint, the situation was a bit different because we had a lot more pace than Mercedes, and I asked for the strategy to be changed a bit." Perhaps Charles needs to start being a bit more cutthroat, as this is not the first time he's made excuses on behalf of a team that seems insistent on throwing him under the bus at any given chance. Further down the grid, Verstappen's record-setting run of race wins came to an end today as he managed to claw it back to a 5th place finish following some baffling race strategy by Red Bull. The team decided to stay out on their 22-lap-old hards, leaving them at the whim of the fresh hards of the pack around them, leading to the unfamiliar sight of a Red Bull going backwards with the number 1 on it. Seeming to hinge their hopes on a second safety car, which is not an unfamiliar sight on the Singapore streets, Red Bull blinked first, finally pitting for a fresh set of mediums to kick off a recovery drive. But sadly for Red Bull, Lady Luck is a cruel mistress, with Ocon's VSC following just 1 lap after Verstappen exited the pits. It seems Red Bull were out of sync following a dissatisfying Q2 exit, with Verstappen having this to say. Actually, during the race, everything was against us in terms of safety cars, so we really had to fight for it. The first stint went reasonably okay until that safety car. After that, everyone on new tires was a lot faster, so I had no chance. That safety car also made the tires a bit too cold. I couldn't really get them up to temperature the way I wanted after that, so we lost quite a bit of time. After that, it went really well on the medium tire, we were just unlucky twice. With the recent technical directives causing quite a stir in the paddock, with Red Bull rumoured to be the most affected by them, it's yet to be seen whether this is just the start of Red Bull's woes, or just the unlucky weekend Verstappen has portrayed. It does seem this is a bogey track for the Dutchman, with him never winning under the lights. However, the extent to Red Bull's misfortunes will be revealed next time out to Japan. Verstappen seemed perplexed about the source of the team's issues this weekend though, saying, "I think it was slightly better in the race, but it was just not our normal standard. We need to understand why it didn't go for a meter in qualifying. In the race, I do think it was much better. Generally, our car is not that good on a street circuit, but this was really too much." Toto didn't end up being the only team principal disappointed with how the race panned out, with close personal friend Christian Horner also proving to be let down by the way the race played out. "Nothing went well for us this weekend. We had a tough qualifying, and for the race, we chose an aggressive strategy. With that, we were hoping for an early or a late safety car. The lap on which the safety car came out could not have been worse for us. That ruined our race. Then we had to do the restarts with old tires and do a pit stop under green flag, leaving us 45 seconds behind the leader." Oh well, Christian, can't win them all. I guess you just have to be satisfied with only 15 consecutive victories, eh? The dream of being the Invincibles may be over for Red Bull, but we hope that our dreams of tight on-track action are only just beginning to be realized. We haven't even had time to properly talk about Liam Lawson's fantastic race, Tsunoda's baffling retirement, and yet another frustrating weekend for Perez bubbling over in a close call with Albon. We'll just have to get around to that next time. So be sure to subscribe to keep up to date with the repercussions of this amazing race weekend as they unfold.